Hello everyone, welcome you all. In this video, we will see in depth about the topic Playwright Revolutionizing Cross-Browser Compatibility. For people who don't know me, I'm Vignesh S. Basically, I'm working as a software automation engineer with close to 10 plus years of experience. But not just that, I'm also an online trainer where I train people on various software testing topics such as web automation, mobile automation, performance testings, API automation, and etc. I'm also a seasonal Udemy trainer where I have many courses in Udemy on various topics. Similarly, there are many courses available in Test Drive too. So far, in my 7 plus years of training experience, I have trained more than 5,000 plus students on various topics. But not just that, I'm also an international conference speaker where I have given opportunity to speak in various great conferences around the world. If you're interested to connect with me, you can scan either this QR code to connect with me via LinkedIn, or if you wanted to know my various courses and where should you can buy it from, you can also scan this portfolio where you can directly land into my portfolio page. Now let us jump into the agenda of this video. So as part of this video, we are going to see three things. One is, first, let us understand a quick introduction about Playwright. Then we will understand in detail what are the browsers are supported for Playwright, versus we will take two other famous web automation frameworks such as Cypress and Selenium. And last, we will see by running the test in various browsers on all Playwright, Cypress and Selenium as part of the demo. So first, for people who don't know about what is Playwright, Playwright is an open source web automation framework developed by Microsoft. It is basically a Node.js library automation tool, which means you can see the Playwright will be downloaded from npsjs.com. And also the important thing to note here is Playwright is written in TypeScript. The important browser which is supported in Playwright is Chromium browser. Chromium is built by Google only, which is by like a base for all the modern browsers. Even the Google Chrome is built on top of that. So Playwright supports this Chromium browser. Similarly, which means that Playwright also supports the Chrome browser. Also, Playwright supports the famous Firefox browser, and also it supports the Microsoft Edge, and it also supports the WebKit. So WebKit is the underlying web engine for the Safari browsers. And also Playwright supports different mobile browsers such as Mobile Chrome and Mobile Safari. Now let us quickly jump into the demo part where I'll be showing you the same test case by executing in Playwright with different browsers. Similarly, I'll also execute in Cypress and also in Selenium, and let us see what are the advantages if we are doing in Playwright versus what are all the issues we are facing when we are doing with Cypress and Selenium. So before I'm jumping into the demo part, I just want to say you that all these browsers which I have picked and I mentioned in the slides are from the official documentation for each tool. So for instance, if I'm going to the Playwright, here you can see it's clearly mentioned what are all the browsers it supports from the playwright.dev official documentation, and the same for the Cypress as well as for the Selenium. So here if I go into the Cypress, here in the docs.cypress.io/guides, here they have clearly mentioned what are all the browsers they are supporting, and similarly for Selenium too. So in Selenium also they have clearly mentioned what are all the browsers they support. So now let us jump into the demo part. So first I'm going to open the Playwright. So here I'm going to my VS Code and I'm opening my Playwright project. Before this video, what I quickly did is I have created a Playwright project, a simple vanilla Playwright project, and I have created it against TypeScript because Playwright is built on top of TypeScript. So I'm using the native language for that. And within that Playwright test, what I have did is I have deleted all the example test, and I have created a simple test script file here. Before I execute the script, I'll just quickly explain what this test does. So basically what I have did here in this test is that I have created a test for Orange HRM login and logout test. So Orange HRM is a very famous demo website. So here what basically I'm doing is I'm going into that website and finding the username. So once I found the username locator, I'm filling it with the value admin. Similarly, I'm finding the password field and I'm filling it with admin123, and I'm clicking on the login button. Once I finish clicking on the login button, I'm clicking on the drop down from the profile. From there, I'm clicking on the logout button. then I'm doing a simple assertion whether that I did logged out successfully. So let me demo here first manually the website so that you can understand what we are trying to do here. So let me type the URL correctly. So this is the URL, which is open source demo orangehrmlive.com. So here, this is where I'm going to enter the username to be admin, and I'm entering the password to be admin123. And when I'm clicking on login, it will do login and go to the dashboard page. So now it is in the dashboard page. So now I'm going to click on this profile drop down and I'm going to click on the logout button. Once I did logout, I will be navigating back to the login page, and I'm just checking whether the URL is same. So this is a simple Playwright test which I have written here. Now, the most interesting part is, as I mentioned, that there are close to 7 to 8 browsers supported by Playwright. Now, how to execute the test on different browsers or to execute on a one single browser. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open the terminal in the Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to write a command which is npx. So let me write it here, npx playwright test. So this command basically, let me zoom in for better visibility. So this command basically will trigger all the tests across all the mentioned process. So for the first time, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say that I wanted to run only in Chromium. So how to say that in Playwright? So npx playwright test is the default command which you need to give when you wanted to execute the test, and I'm passing a flag called -- project Chromium. So when I say -- project Chromium, it will run the test only in the Chromium process. And to, as it's being a demo, I just wanted to show it in the headed mode. So I'm adding -- header so that you can see the browser is getting instantiated and it's running in the Chromium browser. So now when I hit enter, you will be seeing this particular test will be executing on a Chromium browser. So just focus on this place where it will trigger the Chromium browser. So let us wait until it starts with the test execution. So here in Playwright, all the browsers will be mentioned as a project. So don't get confused at what is the meaning of the project. Project is nothing but the browsers here. So we can see the test is getting started. So now it will trigger the Chromium browser. So you can see it is saying that it's going to execute only the Chromium browser, and this is the test which it's trying to execute. So now you can see it invokes the Chromium browser, and it will go to the website, it will do the login, then it will do the logout. So you can see it's entering all the username and password, and once it finished login, it will trying to click on logout. So it done everything and the test should pass now. Yeah, you can see the test got passed now. Go to this playwright config.ts file, and if you scroll down, there will be a section called as projects. So this is the section which says that what is the major browsers it supports. So by default, as part of the installation of Playwright, these are the browsers which comes handy for us. So as I mentioned, it supports Chromium, Firefox, WebKit, and also it supports against different mobile browsers. So it's not directly will run on the mobile browser, it will run the web browser in the mobile viewport. What I mean by that, so for instance, let's say I'm opening up the amazon.com website in my laptop. So it will be running in a 1080 to 1080 pixels, depends on my laptop size, versus if I'm opening in my Samsung phone, it will be very strict, depends on my Samsung sports viewport. So that's the same technology which is being used by the Playwright, where in this case it's going to run in mobile Chrome, and it's also going to run in mobile Safari. Now, when you see this word Safari, you all can see that I'm using a Windows laptop. You can get a question, Vignesh, you're using a Windows laptop. Can you install Safari in your Windows laptop? Obviously not. I cannot install Safari in my Windows laptop. So what Playwright does is, as I mentioned earlier, Playwright will not directly run on a Safari, but it will run on a WebKit, which is the underlying engine for Safari. So if your test runs on WebKit, 100% it will also execute the same in Safari if you're executing in your Mac. And also it run against to some of the top branded browsers such as Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome, like that. So I have enabled all the browsers list here. So it's being by default commented out. So I'm enabled all of them. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to run the command, but this time I'm going to not pass any browser related thing. So I'm just going to hit just npx playwright test. When I hit npx playwright test, it will basically run the same Orange HRM login test against 7 browsers: Chromium, Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari mobile browsers, which is Chromium and Safari. So you can see it is running 7 tests with 4 workers. Basically, the workers is number of parallel threads it's trying to run. So it should be able to run the same test across different browsers. This is how it is as easy to do a cross-browser testing in Playwright. If your project is running in all the markets in different browsers, you don't want it to run the same test again and again in different browser, but just enable this in playwright config.ts, and when you hit the command npx playwright test, all your tests will be running across different browsers. Now, let us wait until the execution is completed. Then I will show the report. So you can see it started showing me the report. So here you can see like 2 tests failed, many tests are passed. So here you can see it's executed under Firefox, WebKit, Chromium, Mobile Chrome, and different browsers. So this is how as it is easy to execute in Playwright. Now, Vignesh, yeah, Vignesh, it's great. It's very easy. But is it really easy compared to other tools? Now, I'll showcase in in Cypress, you will understand how difficult it is. Plus, also, it doesn't support many browsers as it supports in the Playwright. So now I'm going to the VS Code and I'm going to my next project, which is the Cypress demo. Again, here what I did is before the video starts, I just created a simple Cypress project. And again, in the Cypress project, under the Cypress folder, under end-to-end test, I created the exact same Orange HRM login test. Here I'm using Cypress with JavaScript because that's much compatible compared to Java, TypeScript, or other tools for Cypress. Here I have did the exact same test, but I have written in the format where Cypress understands. Now, if I wanted to run this test in different browsers, the major first problem in Cypress is it doesn't directly support to execute the browsers. For instance, if I type nps cypress run, I would be thinking, it will execute in all the browsers. No, that's not how Cypress works. Cypress needs to be clearly mentioned which browser to execute. If I don't mention any browser here, if I just type npx cypress run, it will execute this test in the default browser. The default browser for Cypress is Electron browser. It's not Chromium or it's not Firefox. The default browser for Cypress is Electron browser. So when I just mentioned as npx cypress run, my assumption was that it will run against all the supported browsers. No, it will not be the case. It will execute only in the Electron browser. If I want to execute it in a specific browser, for instance, let's say Chrome, or instance, let's say Firefox, something like that, I have to deliberately pass it as a key or as a command value, which is npx cypress run hyphen hyphen browser as Chrome or hyphen hyphen browser as Firefox. Only then it will work on different browsers. So here you can see, as I mentioned, it is running in the Electron browser. So it will run only in the Electron browser. Now, as I mentioned, if I wanted to run in the Chrome browser, I just have to pass the value to be Chrome. So let me stop the execution. I don't want it to get executed. So now if I wanted to run it against to the Chrome, I just need to say as browser Chrome. And if I wanted, I can pass it to be hyphen hyphen headed if I want to show you that it's executing in the Chrome browser. So if I run it in this fashion, then it will execute in the Chrome browser. So what is the clear difference we can see from Playwright versus Cypress is that there is no direct way to run the same test across different browsers. That's problem number one. And problem number two is it does not support any Safari based testing. What I mean by that, if I want to check whether my product works in a Safari browser, if I'm using Cypress, there is no way to do that. So here it's basically invoking the Chrome here, and it will start executing in the Chrome, which is fine. Now let me go back to the Visual Studio Code. So as I mentioned, it is not as great as Playwright, where it's not supporting different browsers. Also, it's not having any support for the mobile browsers where I can't test in a different viewport or something. Similarly, there is no direct way where I'm running one command where it will execute in different browsers. Obviously, there are workarounds to do that. I can go to the package.json, I can add some scripts to call multiple browsers, but there is no direct way or very easy way to do it via how I did in the Playwright. So this is how it works in the Cypress. Now I'm jumping to the legend, which is the Selenium. So I'm going to my IntelliJ. So here what I did, I just created a Maven project. So in my Maven project under the pom.xml, I just installed 2 dependencies. One is the Selenium Java. So I'm going to work with Selenium Java. The concept is same across different languages. So here I have installed Selenium Java, and here I have installed TestNG. And within this Selenium project, I have written the exact same Orange HRM test Here again, I'm doing the same process, logging and logout. Now, the interesting thing between Cypress, Selenium versus the Playwright, at least in Cypress, in Playwright, we know that we can directly run the test by just adjusting the commands which we pass, like hyphen hyphen browser as Chrome or something. But that's not possible in Selenium. In Selenium, whenever you're writing any test, you need to pass which driver you are invoking. For instance, if I'm writing the command WebDriver driver equal to Chrome driver, this will basically create me an instance of Chrome driver. Now, Vignesh, I want to run in, let's say, Safari, so, or let's say Firefox. Can't I run the same way how it did run for Playwright? No, it will not work that way. If I wanted to run it for example, let's say on Firefox, I have to comment the code which I have written for Chrome driver and I have to enable for Firefox driver. Now, if I run the test, it will invoke the Firefox driver. That's how it is hard to invoke different browsers in Selenium. Again, there are workarounds for this too, which means I can create a property file where I can take the input of different browsers. Then I have to write some conditional statements like if the property files is giving me Chrome, then invoke the Chrome browser, which means create an instance for the Chrome browser. If the value is property file is returning me Firefox, then invoke the Firefox browser. Like that I can do it. But again, it's not very straightforward or very easy like how we can do in Playwright. And another major problem is you need to have the Safari browser or the corresponding other browsers in your system. If not, it will not work. What I mean by that, for instance, again for the same example, I'm using Windows, but I don't have any Safari in my system. When I'm working with Playwright, if I execute my test, you can see it executed WebKit, which means even though it does not have Safari, it will install WebKit and it will work on it. But if I'm working with Selenium, that is not the case. It will not have any way for me to run against Selenium if I'm using Windows. Obviously, there is a way if I'm going with Mac, but if I'm using Mac, then I will not be able to execute the Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer. So there is always a problem whenever you're working with different OSs. So that's how the Selenium lacks in terms of the cross-browser compatibility. So as a conclusion, if your project demands a high testing on different cross browser, I would highly suggest to go with Playwright. Or if it demands a less cross browser support, you can go with Cypress or something. But if you once you landed into the Selenium world, there is no direct way where you can test in multiple different browsers by using like Chrome or Firefox or something like that. So that's how I can mention that Playwright dominates in terms of cross-browser testing compared to Cypress and Selenium. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.